Hey guys, Matt, Straight Race Cards here, and I am excited to be back with another video. And I just wanted to say thank you again. The really just pouring out of comments and people have reached out. I just feel so grateful for you guys in this community. So thank you guys. Excited to continue to make some more videos. So be on the lookout. But tonight, I am so excited to talk about my own collecting journey and some of the pivots that I've considered making here in the future, as well as just some of the processing and conundrums that I've been really thinking through. So I'll share you my story and then go through a little bit of cards here. But yes, I know I shared with you guys a little bit of my story in my introduction video, but I originally saw T206 cards and was really blown away by those. And it was really a guy, Christy Mathewson, that really just spoke to me. As I saw Christy Mathewson and learned who he was and saw his cards, I was just captivated by his story. And so one of the cards that I really wanted was his T206 white cap. And so as I went into my collecting journey, I thought, okay, this is it. I'm going to go chase after the monster, that 520 T206 set. Let's do this. And so I began, grabbing a bunch of T206 commons. I think I was up to around 40 or 50, so about 10% of the set. And then I quickly realized that I had bit off a little more that I could chew. One of the things I was thinking through was, man, there are around 470 commons that I would be having to buy to complete the set, not alone the Hall of Famers, which just felt like a lot for me. And so as I thought through it, I said, okay, I'm going to, just go after the Hall of Famers. That's a much more manageable-ish goal. That's still a pretty hefty goal looking back. But anyways, shifted my focus and was going after the Hall of Famers. Had grabbed, 10 or 11 of the I think it's 76 Hall of Famers. And then, the same thing happened where I said, okay, instead of going for all the Hall of Famers, how about I just get the portraits, which cut the number down, I think, to 36. And so I said, great, that's a little bit more manageable. And then ended up switching, going from, okay, I just want to get the portraits to maybe I don't need all the portraits and I want to focus on a few players. And I looked at, another set, the M116 set, and said, hey, what if I just went after the blue background set of those cards and picked up the Eddie Collins M116, which is an amazing card. And so I tell you all this because I was, continuing to pivot in my pre-war collection. And so the interesting thing was, while I was pivoting in my pre-war, I've been so focused on my post-war collection. I was locked in I wanted to pick a top set, which I picked 56 to go after those Hall of Famers. And then I wanted to pick a player to go on a player run. So I've got the 56 set as well as Al Kaline. And I've just been running hard on those and just locked in on my mission. Been ticking off several 56s and Kaline cards this year, and that's been a really fun journey. It is really fun when you have a purpose and passion and a meaning of, hey, I'm going to be intentional about, each purchase. And so it's been quite an interesting, dilemma between the two. And I haven't really quite figured what to do with the pre-war side of things. And so I bring that tonight to the table because I wanted to talk through, what that collecting journey has looked like. What does it look like when we do pivot? And that's been something I've been processing, as I've been really maturing in my hobby collecting. I'm not going to say I'm this experienced or, put together collector. I'll gladly tell you I don't know the answers, and I'd love to hear your guys' wisdom on this because I'm still learning and growing. But it's fun to get to share that with you guys as as I go through this journey of collecting. And so one of the things that I've been really, just relating in my, collecting in my life is how can I find passion and meaning and purpose in everything I do? I think about the thing that I spent a lot of time doing before collecting was I spent a lot of time running and training so that I could be the best runner. I was training, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, so I could be the best runner. And I saw what it took to be the best runner. It took a full effort all the time. And I felt like every day when I woke up, I had a very clear vision. I had a very clear passion and purpose. And it was exciting because I did see growth and I saw this amazing opportunity to get better and see as my times improved. Especially over the last few years of my running career, I was so locked in on my vision and purpose that it made it exciting. And so as I think about that, I want that to translate over to my collecting. I want, everything I do to have intention and meaning. And so I think one thing that as I've been processing, especially on the pre-war side and some on the post-war, is I feel like I had been just getting cards to, get cards to check those off the list. But one thing I want to do is I want to be intentional about the specific cards I buy. Why do I buy them? Why do they stand out to me? What, truths can I draw out of those cards? And so, I think about my own pre-war collection where I've got, a Mathewson white cap. I picked that up, Mathewson portrait, and then a speaker card, and then that Eddie Collins card. I think about those cards, and I love those cards, but the thing that I've been processing is, was I intentional with those purchases? And on some of those I would say yes, but then others I'd say, what, as I'm maturing as a collector, I think that I can do better. I don't think I had the long-term vision in mind as I purchased those cards. And so I think as I, consider future purchases, Greg Miller was talking about this on his channel, was how can I be patient and really think about, what is my collection? What do I want to look like in 5 years, 10 years, in 30 years? And so that's been something on my mind as I've been just processing that. And then I was thinking about, 3 different things as I thought about cards and passion and meaning. Is the first, I want every card to have meaning and purpose behind it. And I want to find meaning and purpose behind the stories and everything else. And so I really want to draw that out, whether that's spending more time researching on each card and the stories. I just want to be more intentional and be a better steward of the cards that I'm buying or cards I'm considering buying. And so it's fun because as I think about, a Mathewson, I think about a guy that stood in the face of baseball when there was a lot of debauchery. I think about a guy that was, adamant and firm in his conviction and faith. I think about a guy that, held fast in his marriage when a lot of others were out doing all kinds of crazy things. And so, or Speaker, I think about Tris Speaker and how he and Larry Doby connected, and they had a long-term friendship that was meaningful because Doby really impacted Speaker, who at one point was a member of the KKK, but I think because of Doby's impact on his life, ended up stepping down from the KKK and was able to put that past him. And so I think about those stories, and that's who I want to be as a collector. I want to be someone that draws meaning and purpose. And that's not every card, I realize that, but I want to do a better job of being intentional. And then, the other thing is, I think cards are half the story. I think the other part is cards are one part, but people are the other. And so what a fun opportunity it is to connect with others. I think that's a big reason why I started this channel, was to connect with others and ultimately, get to grow with others. And, whether they're locally in the, Dallas-Fort Worth area where I am at or somewhere else. I think about, that I've got a friend in Canada, or, I'm getting a virtual coffee with another card collector this next week. And so things like that just get me very excited because the hobby is so much more about cards. It's about people and relationships and the long-term journey as we all grow together. And then last, I just want to be able to pull, look at a card and let it point to something, bigger than myself. I want to look at, an Eric Little card. And when I look at his card, I'm reminded of how Eric, was a man of his convictions. I look at Al Kaline and I think about a guy that, in his last years, mentored a guy that was in the minor leagues that no one else would have anything to do with. Kaline was so humble, and I just think about that, and I'm like, hey, that is who I want to be. And so I love getting to draw meaning and truth from these cards as I collect. So I'd love to hear from you guys, though. What does that look like for you? How have you guys navigated as you matured as a collector, those pivots and changes? I think for me, one of the biggest things is I probably will end up finding a new home for some of those more beat up Mathewson or Speaker cards and think about, hey, what does that look like? For me, I think in pre-war, I want to collect some more Mathewson cards across the board, but doing that intentionally. Like the M116 Mathewson would be an amazing card that I would want, but I want to find a copy that's worth keeping for the long haul. So it might take several years to get, but I'm in no rush, and I'll be in this hobby for a long time, and each day is a blessing to be in the hobby. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that, so let me know, and I'd love to connect with you more, and I'll show you some cards as well from those pre-war sets. So I appreciate it, guys. All right, so let's see some cards. I'm going to give you just a little sampling of some of the pre-war cards that I've been able to grab that just have gotten me excited. And yeah, so let's dive in. So here is the 1934 through 36 Diamond Stars set. This is Ted Lyons, and he's a Hall of Famer. Played baseball at Baylor University, my alma mater, so that's a big reason why I love Ted Lyons. Really excited to share with you guys down the road an exciting story about Ted Lyons. It's really amazing about Ted Lyons, and I love just his consistency as a White Sox pitcher. He's got a no-hitter to his name as well, and I want to say he pitched something like 20 seasons or a long time, so really consistent pitcher, amazing ERA. Love that Ted Lyons. The Diamond Stars is criminally underrated, in my opinion. That card will go to SGC later in a couple weeks. Here is the T206 Speaker card, and this is a SGC 1.5 in a Piedmont back. And you can see there's a little crease here through the front. I said little, it's a pretty big crease, but love having this card. And you can see the Piedmont back here of the 350 subjects. Another, I just love these tobacco backs. They're just so cool. I just think that it's amazing that they come from all over, and there's just so much, man, it's just a huge, huge undertaking to learn all of these. And it's just fun to learn about tobacco sets. I mean, I think it's crazy that you could buy a pack of cigs and get some amazing baseball cards. So it's pretty awesome. Next, we have the Christian gentleman himself, Christy Mathewson. Here is his T206 portrait in a sweet cap back. Obviously, it's a 1. It's got a pinhole and pretty beat up, but amazing card. This was the first really big boy purchase that I made. I was honestly like, man, I don't know if I really want to spend this much money on a baseball card, but it's Christy Mathewson and super meaningful to me. So I love Maddie. Obviously a beater, but just thrilled to have the card. And then to round out the Mathewsons, here is a Christy Mathewson 1.5 Piedmont. I really actually love the thick borders on this card on the bottom. It's obviously off-centered, and there's a little crease on the right, but I think it presents really well. It's a beautiful card. So I've really appreciated having this in my collection. And it has a really clean 150 subjects Piedmont back. Again, just these are beautiful pre-war cards. I just think that Mathewson white cap pose is just iconic. And then lastly, we've got again, I just think the M116 sets are super off the radar. So we've got Eddie Collins, Sporting Life, and just look at these colors. I think the blue and green really pop. And I think if there's any pre-war set that I've really grown to love the most, it's this M116. Not something you see every day either, especially on the Hall of Famers. And there's several variations. I just had a Hugh Duffy, and it is a more like gray and white pastel card. And then there's gray and white, and then there's the pastel versions of these cards are like a yellowish with a white hue. And I mean, this doesn't get any better. When you think of baseball, think of Sporting Life. And you can get them for 5 cents. I mean, how cool is that? So Eddie Collins, man, I just think about I think he's a second baseman and just consistent. He was known to be just, a little cocky, but really great ball player. And again, a really fun card to own and grateful to have it in the collection. So anyways, guys, really appreciate y'all watching. Let me know what y'all think about collecting with purpose and pivoting in your collection and what that's looked like for you guys. And I'm excited to hear from y'all. And in the meantime, keep running a straight race. Thanks, guys.